Chapter 5. My mother had always wanted to have more children. After father died, I remembered she often played with the idea of going out and finding a new husband. Though young as I was, I could see she still couldn't let go of the memory of him. Oftentimes, when she remembered him most, she would hold me so close I couldn't see her tears, only feel her shaking behind me. I knew to hold still. It was important that I hold still. But I had always wanted to twist around and hug her tight. Not because I understood, but because her shaking made me feel like my whole world was about to shake apart with her. Mother had been my world, my entire world, and her grief the earthquake that might shatter it. How much so could that be with an unborn baby than with a 6-year-old? And what happened when your world was taken away? I reflected on this as I kept watch on the 2 rows of monitors before me. The night vision camera didn't mix well with flashlights, and since just about everyone in the attic seemed to have one, I ended up having to depend on the infrared camera instead. The red of their bodies had made me think of the red world of the womb. A heavy, unsettled ache hadn't left since I'd had that vision, and while it didn't actively get in my way, it did weigh on my thoughts. Monk had mentioned that I was less chirpy than usual, and I would have shrugged it off if it wasn't for the fact I realized he was right. I heaved a sigh, hoping to blow some of it out. Out of all the things we had to get, why couldn't it be hexers or even latent psychics? Yeah, we haven't had a good latent psychic case in a while. The tiny speaker next to my microphone crackled. You left the mic on, Mai. If it had been anyone else, I would have apologized and switched it off. But since Naro had that lofty, almost inaudible lilt at the end of his tone that told me he was amused, I grabbed a handful of paper nearby and crackled it against the mic. What's that? Didn't catch you. I know that's paper. Caught in the act, I switched off the microphone and slapped my forehead hard against the table. The sting and ringing in my ears helped my annoyance just a bit. At the same time, a small part of me had been hoping... What? That he'd laugh? Had I been trying to play with him? Of course I was. Arrogant narcissists needed a good laugh to get off his high horse. The speaker crackled again. Please care for the brain cells you have by not hitting your head against the desk, please. I snapped up and checked the mic. It was off. I asked some questions to the others in it to test it, but sure enough, nothing. Once again, Naru had lucky guessed me. I could feel my face heating up. Damn it, Naru, don't do that to me. It wasn't like I wanted to stay in love with him, and if he kept showing how much attention he paid me... A loud cracking of wood buzzed the overly sensitive mics. With a wince, I turned down the volume on my headphones. The door's been glued shut, but it's here, as you said, came Lynn's voice. I really need to rough arm you into giving me the lottery numbers one of these days, said Takigawa with a low whistle. I'm flattered, but this was quite obvious, said Naru. Wait, are you saying you know the lottery numbers? Whoa, wait, are you saying you know the lottery numbers? Never mind that. Lynn, do you see them? After a few seconds' pause, Lynn said, I see boxes or chests of sort. Hold on. I gripped my elbows, eyes glued to the screen like an episode of Sherlock I had yet to watch. The scary music had yet to play in the background, so that meant any moment now something freaky would happen. The scraping of wood against wood filled the headphones as the warm-colored blotch of Ling pulled out blue-colored boxes. I switched back over to the night vision camera in attempts to get a better look, but, of course, they all had their stupid flashlight beams on it as well, so I switched back just in time to watch orange and red Lynn lift the blue lid. A few more breathless seconds. We found them, he said. So those are actual Cumin thong. You weren't joking. I hardly joke, said Naru's dry voice. Monk, spot Lynn. Have a ward ready. But as the minutes ticked by and Lynn disappeared into the attic wall to pull out box after box, nothing happened. The temperature didn't change, and besides the scrape of wood boxes, nothing strange came over the speakers. Abruptly, a chill, like a jolt of static, shot up my spine. The unsettled feeling grew, and goosebumps prickled along my arms. Biting my lip, I switched on my mic, just in case. But the boxes made it out of the attic and down into the great hall without a single event. Takigawa didn't move his fingers from their position once, as Naru and Lynn brought them down the stairs 3 at a time. Naru stopped me from going to help by telling me to keep my eyes on the screen, just as the thought had entered my head to leave. His uncanny ability to protect me was starting to get annoying. 12 wooden, latch-lid boxes the size of shoe boxes, all made of the same red cherry wood and set into 2 rows of 6 on the floor. I watched through the open door from my seat in front of the monitors. Naru sent a sharp glare at me on catching me watching. "Monitors," he said. "You can always rewind," I said irritably. "Besides," he paused as he set down the last box. "What?" "I feel really on edge for some reason." Naru nodded as though he had expected that, and straightened. "Takigawa, do you think you could get to work on destroying these? John should be here soon to help." "Wouldn't it do better to get the spirits out first?" said Takigawa. "I mean, John's exorcisms will just expel them. I could very well destroy them." My knuckles popped as my fingers dug into my arms. "Let's wait, Naru." Naru caught my eye and hesitated, but not long. "All right." I relaxed as much as I could. So the babies wouldn't be harmed. That was good. Still, why did I keep expecting something to happen? Maybe because something always did. Obviously nothing had happened yet. Maybe when John exorcised them? But once they didn't have anything to literally tie them down to the world, wouldn't a baby's spirit just pass on right away? Takigawa had said there simply wasn't infant ghosts for that very reason. Naru ambled in after telling Takigawa and Lin to keep vigil over the Cumin thongs. He picked up his second cup of tea he had yet to finish and took a sip. I chewed my lip as I peered around him to take another look at the boxes. "You can go look if you want," he said over the rim of his cup. I flinched as though he had yelled at me. "Won't I get cursed or something?" "It might actually help you to relax. Uneasiness isn't always caused by supernatural senses, you know. Go take a look. They're just babies." I gave him my best dry look. "Yeah, babies. That's why you set two spiritualists on guard next to them." He seemed to read my look, for he lowered his mug enough to sigh. "I know better than to leave children unattended, undead or not. Having someone near them is probably all that is needed to keep them calm. Babies are rather dependent on others, as you know." "Then why do you make me keep watch at the monitors rather than help you?" "You're a klutz. Perish the thought you should drop one." "Perish the thought I should drop you? Man, you are so rude." "And you are loud. Are you going to go look or not?" Itching to push him, or at least seriously mess up his stupid perfect hair, I marched around him into the grand hall, where Takigawa watched with a familiar smile. I made to shoot him a warning glare, but knew better. It wasn't as though Nara was joking. I was a klutz. Trouble-prone, to be precise. And besides, now that I was finally out of the cozy coven of the parlor, I could feel my unsettled feelings start to ease. Maybe just taking a peek would help. It wasn't like I'd seen a dried-up baby in there. They were supposed to be covered in gold. If anything, they probably just looked like gold nuggets sitting in a pile of silk. Lin said nothing as I went up to the first box on the first row, but he watched me through his black bangs from his seat on the stairs. "They're pretty gnarly," said Takigawa. And since he said it with the tone of a teenager talking about a freak show exhibit, I didn't pause as I unlatched the unvarnished cherry wood lid. There was silk and gold, all right. But the thing that had been arranged from within was anything but a nugget. Its head was large, like an alien's, its gold eyes sunken, and thin streams of gold flesh clung to doll-sized bones. Its arms had been crossed over its chest, and its slightly bowed legs ending with tiny feet had been straightened. A gold baby mummy. I dropped the lid. My heart had jumped to double speed. Part of me told me to look again, to take a good look to prove to myself that it couldn't harm me, that there was no suffering baby, just a preserved corpse. But that wasn't what had a grip on me now, and it wasn't any fool's supernatural senses either. "I don't know what you were thinking," I said, almost beneath my breath for a sudden tightness in my throat. But that did not help. Takigawa flinched. "You all right?" "No, I'm not." Because I knew if I faced Naru now, I would not only start screaming, but start sobbing as well. I stood up and stiffly stepped past Lin and up the stairs. How the hell could he think that, after all we had experienced together, that seeing a dried-up baby would help me feel better? I really hated him. And as though to nail that in, as my foot met the maroon carpet on the second floor, a disembodied infant started to cry again.